Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Imagine that there's something you can do to help save a life, and it takes only about an hour of your time. Well, you can be that lifesaver by giving blood. Across the country and here at home, there is a critical need for blood. It's needed for a number of purposes, including accident victims as well as surgical and cancer patients. For the latest news and how you can donate blood, we're joined by Jennifer Costa. Jennifer is the Regional Communications Director for the Red Cross of Northern New England. Thank you so much for being with us, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having us on.
So what is the blood supply situation here at the end of August right now?
So right now what we're seeing is a critical need. And what that means is in recent weeks, we have seen a number of blood donors drop by about 10%. We believe there are several factors at play here behind that decline. And chiefly, that's the continued effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on blood drive cancellations and donor availability, as well as people just living their lives, and we're getting back into that back to school time for many families. So throughout this pandemic, the Red Cross has seen tens of thousands of blood drive cancellations across the country over these COVID concerns, resulting in more than 1 million uncollected blood donations. Additionally, like so many organizations right now, the Red Cross continues to face operational challenges that have forced some blood donor appointments and drives to be canceled. So we just want everyone to know, please know that the Red Cross is working hard to overcome these obstacles to meet the needs of patients as quickly as possible. And something that we're doing right here in Vermont is trying to bolster our staff. So we're hiring more phlebotomists across Vermont. And we just truly appreciate donors' patience and support during these really challenging times.
Right. Well, you guys really have been there. And any insights why this has been such a prolonged shortage? We were at a critical state back in April.
So this summer, we continue to have this ongoing critical need for blood because distributions to hospitals remain higher than anticipated. So in recent months, the Red Cross has sent 12% more blood products to hospitals than anticipated to meet the needs of patients. And a lot of those higher distributions to hospitals are in areas where the pandemic continues to disrupt normal blood collection operations. And then even without the added struggle of a global pandemic, right, summer is one of the most difficult times of the year to collect blood because people are busy, they're doing things, they're on family vacations. And then what we have seen this trend throughout the summer is that, as people were feeling more comfortable with the pandemic and venturing out again, they're going into the hospital, and because they have delayed care in some cases for some 18 months, they're presenting with later stage diagnosis and more advanced disease progression, which is translating to a greater need for blood. Additionally, as people get out and start doing things, we also see trauma cases rise. So all of that is playing together. Then you add in one newer component. So across the country right now, we're seeing we're in disaster season. So from wildfires out west to the deadly flooding in Tennessee to a tropical storm right here in New England just last week. Those emergencies tend to disrupt blood collection. And so that's why it's so important that we in areas that are not affected continue the drumbeat of collecting blood. So, unfortunately, the need for blood doesn't stop for these disasters. And one of the being prepared for disaster is collecting blood.
Exactly. And what does that shortage mean for a hospital right here, like the UVM Medical Center? What does that mean?
So UVM Medical Center is one of the 2,500 hospitals across the country that we work with. And when we feel the pinch, so do they. So I had a chance to speak with them just the other day to get a sense. And their critical need right now is mostly around platelet inventory. And platelets are those tiny cells in our blood that form clots and prevent bleeding. And for millions of Americans, these are essential to surviving and fighting cancers and chronic diseases. Every 15 seconds, someone needs platelets in this country. And so UVM Medical Center tells me that critical need for platelets means sometimes their patients are having to wait a bit longer to get those.
Okay, so platelets, and also O-type blood seems to be in demand, but because I have that. But what else? Any other special types of blood?
So we need all types of blood all the time, but you are absolutely correct. There's a particular need for type O blood. And that's because type O is the type that hospitals reach to when in an emergency, when there is not time to determine someone's blood type. And so that often means that it is depleted first.
Okay, so Jennifer, how do people make an appointment to give blood or to find a blood drive?
So I just wanted to really reiterate that although there are some fears around COVID-19 and the Delta variant, it is completely safe to give blood. We are really strongly encouraging making appointments. Visit redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. We are changing a few things. We are asking those who are donating blood to resume wearing masks. Our staff is as well, and this is just to ensure the health and safety of everyone. You'll see lots of safety precautions in place, wearing gloves, routinely disinfecting donor touch surfaces. So we just want everyone to feel very comfortable and be confident that we are taking safety very seriously. And we strongly encourage everyone to consider giving the gift of life by donating blood.
Indeed. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us today, and we hope a lot of you get a lot more donors on the phones and signing up. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
The hot and humid summer season is not the time of year that you'd expect to find someone doing research on snow. But that's exactly what happened a couple of years ago when a student scientist at UVM was in Craftsbury to learn more about storing snow in a changing climate. Rebecca Gollin has the story.
For Vermont ski areas, nothing is more important than the white stuff. Snow can make or break a whole season.
In order to get good races here, which is good for the local economy, we need to be able to pretty much guarantee that we'll have snow.
Judy Geer is a director of the Craftsbury Outdoor Center, a nonprofit centered around sports, sustainability, and land stewardship in Craftsbury Commons. Offerings here include biking, sculling, and sailing, as well as Nordic or cross-country skiing in the winter. Visitors range from local families and college teams to competitive athletes coming to train. The center has hosted national-level competitions and is eager to expand those opportunities.
The goal here is to be able to hold training camps and races beginning in mid-November reliably. And the mid-November part is because skiers are really eager to get on snow, and especially competitive skiers, and especially Olympic aspirant skiers, which we have some of right here at Craftsbury, but there are a lot of juniors in the area who are training for Junior Olympics, and the colleges in the area are training for their college carnivals. So November is a really key time to be able to provide snow for people.
And that's where Hannah Weiss comes in.
My project is monitoring a giant pile of snow over the summer.
Weiss is a graduate student at the University of Vermont's Rubenstein School of Environment and Natural Resources. For the past 2 summers, she's been coming to the Craftsbury Outdoor Center to conduct research on storing snow in the warmest season.
This is a pile of snow that was made in early March of this year, 2019, and from March to May it was covered in several dump truck loads of wood chips. We have about, I'd say, a foot of wood chips, 1.5 feet of wood chips across the pile dispersed. And then in June we were able to get these large sheets of white tarps over the pile to try to reflect some of that sunlight before it can even get down into the wood chips.
Weiss uses sophisticated 3D scanning technology called LiDAR to measure the size of the snow pile every 2 weeks throughout the season.
We started the season off with 9,300 cubic meters of snow, and so this pile was a little bigger even than what we see right now, and it's just been melting over time, but the hope is that we have enough.
Using wood chips or sawdust to insulate ice is not a new idea. That's how iceboxes worked back in the days before refrigeration. Storing snow over the summer to get an early start on the ski season is not a novel idea either. That's been done in several European countries, as well as Canada. What is unique about Weiss's research is the location.
The Craftsbury Outdoor Center is the lowest, as far as we know, the lowest combined elevation and latitude place in the world to try over summer snow storage. And this is significant because different geographic locations around the world can receive different amounts of energy from the sun. They have different climates. And And most of the centers, because most of these centers that have been really successful, they were either, you know, at higher elevations. A lot of sites are in the Alps and, you know, in Europe, or again, I said in Scandinavia, so that's really high latitude. We didn't know whether we would need to do something entirely different from what these other centers were doing in order to keep snow over the summer.
The goal is not only to figure out the best way to store snow under these conditions, but also to do it in an environmentally conscious way.
How do we keep doing what it is we love to do in the face of a rapidly changing climate?
Paul Biermann is a professor of geology and natural resources at UVM and is Weiss's advisor for the project. He's also an enthusiastic Nordic skier himself and is familiar with the issues that the industry is facing.
The Nordic areas in Vermont are having a tougher and tougher time making a go of it. Even if we do get snow, it's now often followed by rain, warm temperatures, melting, and then another cold freeze. And if you've ever tried skiing on what remains from that, you're better on ice skates.
Biermann says that the kind of applied science in this project is important not only for the university, but for the whole state.
It matters in the sense of a real applicable climate change adaptation. I mean, we're at the point where there is no longer any question that the climate is changing. There's no question that people are causing that, and there's no question that we're going to have to adapt. If you are by the coast, the adaptations are different, but here in Vermont, because tourism is a large part of our economic base, this is one of the adaptations we seriously need to consider.
Another possible application for the technology involved in storing snow could be to cool buildings in the summer months. Weiss is analyzing the data she's collected so far and will have some results in the next year. In the meantime, Nordic ski centers in the state will be paying attention, using age-old tricks to keep the snow in Vermont's ski season. In Craftsbury, I'm Rebecca Gollin with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Rebecca. And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.